No one married a Ketheri. That was simply how the galaxy worked. Captain Rinhala Vess knew this the way one knew gravity or vacuum exposure, facts that didn't care whether you accepted them. Her people were respected, feared even, but never loved in the way that ended with shared homes, shared names, shared futures. The Ketheri were tall, slate-skinned, with bioluminescent markings that traced their bodies like living constellations. They were engineered long ago as adaptive survivors, able to thrive on harsh worlds, resistant to radiation, disease, and age. They were powerful. They were also alone. Rinhala stood on the balcony of the Veterans Rehabilitation Station orbiting Alios Minor, watching cargo shuttles glide through amber light. She had retired 3 cycles ago after 27 years of service in the coalition defense fleets. She had commanded ships, broken sieges, and held the line when entire systems burned. Yet this moment, this quiet conversation, made her more uneasy than any battlefield. Behind her, a human man adjusted the kettle on a small heating unit, the faint hiss of steam filling the quarters. Ethan Cole, former Staff Sergeant, Terran Expeditionary Forces. He walked with a limp from an old mech drop, his hair prematurely grey, his left arm reinforced with a subtle prosthetic weave. He lived simply, spoke plainly, looked at the world like it could still surprise him. They had met 6 months ago during a joint trauma recovery program for cross-species veterans. Shared scars had a way of ignoring biology. Still, there were lines that weren't crossed. Until now. Beginning, the truth she never said aloud. "You should know something," Rinhala said quietly, her voice low and even, the way it had been when issuing orders under fire. Ethan turned, 2 cups in his hands. "Sounds serious." "It is," she said. "Sit." He obeyed without comment, settling into the chair across from her. Rinhala clasped her hands together, bioluminescent veins pulsing faintly beneath her skin. "No one marries my race." Ethan frowned. "I don't follow. Ketheri bonds are discouraged," she explained. "We are considered unsuitable for long-term pairings. Politically complex. Biologically intimidating. Culturally inconvenient." "That sounds like bureaucratic nonsense," he said. She gave a small, humorless smile. "It is also reality." Ethan waited. He had learned that silence often did more than reassurance. "I can bear children," Rinhala continued, her gaze fixed on the stars. "Perfectly healthy ones. Cross-species compatibility exists with humans. It has been medically verified for centuries." She finally looked at him. "No one wants that risk. A Ketheri spouse. A Ketheri mother." Her jaw tightened. "I was never trained to want it. But wanting is persistent." The words hung between them, fragile and exposed. Ethan absorbed them slowly. He did not interrupt. He did not recoil. Instead, he asked, "Is that what this is about? Risk?" She exhaled. "Yes. And you?" Middle, a human answer. Ethan leaned back, rubbing his prosthetic arm thoughtfully. "You know, back home, they told us humans weren't marriage material either." Rinhala blinked. "That is not the same." "Sure it is," he said. "Too emotional. Too violent. Too unpredictable. No one wanted to build a future with a species that kept setting itself on fire." He met her eyes, steady and unflinching. "Didn't stop us." She studied his face, the faint scars, the calm acceptance of pain as a companion rather than an enemy. You don't understand the consequences, she said. Ketheri children age slowly. They outlive most species. If something happened to me, Ethan cut in gently, then I'd raise them. Her bioluminescence flared instinctively. You would accept that burden, she asked. I've carried worse, he replied. And I didn't do it alone. Rinhala stood abruptly, turning away as if to regain control. Humans romanticize sacrifice. No, Ethan said softly. We normalize responsibility. She faced him again, something dangerously close to hope in her eyes. My people do not marry because we are taught that attachment weakens command, she said. That love compromises duty. Ethan rose too, standing before her, close but not touching. Then your people were wrong. The words hit harder than any declaration. He continued, voice firm but kind. I've seen commanders who loved their families fight harder, not weaker. I've seen soldiers survive because someone was waiting for them. He hesitated, then added, I'm not afraid of your species. I'm afraid of a universe where we keep letting fear decide who deserves happiness. Ending what he chose. Rinhala's composure cracked, not in tears, but in stillness. A Ketheri response reserved for moments of irreversible change. You are a human veteran, she said slowly. You have already given more than most beings ever will. Ethan smiled faintly. Funny thing about that. Makes you picky about what's worth giving the rest to. She searched his expression for doubt. Found none. If I choose this, she said, I will be criticized. Studied. Judged. I've been judged my whole life, Ethan replied. Turns out, I don't break. A soft sound escaped her, half laugh, half disbelief. My people say no one marries Ketheri, she said. Ethan reached out then, resting his hand lightly against hers. Warm. Solid. Human. Then let's make no one outdated. The station's lights dimmed automatically as the system shifted to evening cycle. Outside, ships continued their endless comings and goings, unaware that a quiet revolution had just occurred in a small veterans' quarters. Months later, the announcement rippled across coalition networks. A registered interspecies marriage between Captain Rinhala Vess, retired, and Staff Sergeant Ethan Cole, retired. The reactions were immediate. Shock. Debate. Curiosity. Then something unexpected. Others followed. Not just humans and Ketheri, but species long told they were incompatible, undesirable, unfit for shared futures. Boundaries shifted. Traditions bent. And on Aelios Minor, in a modest habitat overlooking a slow-turning star, a Ketheri commander and a human veteran learned something together. That strength was not diminished by love. It was refined by it. And when Rinhala later placed Ethan's hand against her abdomen, feeling the faint, steady pulse of new life, she realized something her people had never taught her. The bravest battles were not fought alone. They were chosen, together.